So, Missouri's junior senator Eric Schmidt recently spoke at the 5th Annual Conservative Conference in Washington. I've noticed that the alt-right have been really super comfortable about saying the quiet part out loud. He posed the question, and this is where he started to fuck up, in my opinion. The question was, what is an American? He drones on and on and on about birthright, heritage, the Continental Army, Valley Forge, Plymouth, and the wild frontier of Missouri. How all of the settlers have done so much for him, his descendants, their descendants, and the white race. And that means that America is only for the whites. If you use logic and critical thinking, you'll realize that a little further into his speech, he actually admitted that these whites were fighting Native Americans. As he says, and I quote, Kentucky settlers repelling wave after wave of Indian band attacks, or something like that. That's where this idiot admitted that these people he speaks of were fighting the Native Americans. As our grade school education taught us, where did these so-called Indians come from? Did your ancestors bring them along? No. So that means they were here before your ancestors. So once more for the cheap seats in the back, say it with me, y'all. Native Americans. So he is admitting that the people he speaks of, the whites, brought their violence, audacity, and entitlement to America. He left out something very, very, very super important though. The colonists didn't come along. We know they didn't bring the Native Americans. With all of the white men's supposed greatness, they also bought tuberculosis, smallpox, cholera, measles, and probably more shitborne illnesses that are blamed as the catalyst for the huge spread of old world plagues that decimated the indigenous population. Colonial cities and camps often had contaminated water supplies due to inadequate sewage disposal. Colonists frequently relieved themselves near their settlements and dumped refuge into the same waterways they used for drinking and bathing. Turd water. This led to the spread of waterborne diseases like cholera and typhoid fever to native communities who also depended on those water sources. Rude. Also, most colonists did not bathe often, with some believing that bathing left a person vulnerable to disease. This low standard of personal hygiene promoted the transmission of diseases like smallpox, influenza, through bodily fluids and direct contact. As European settlers grew into towns and cities, the high population density combined with unsanitary waste disposal created ideal conditions for infectious diseases to spread. This included diseases transmitted by fleas and rodents that were attracted to colonial turds and waste. Also, these people intentionally spread disease. In some horrifying, brutal instances, colonists intentionally weaponized disease. They reportedly gave blankets contaminated with smallpox to Native Americans, knowing that the lack of prior exposure and unsanitary conditions would lead to a devastating epidemic. As he tries and fails to wax poetically about who America belongs to the tune of offensive cultural purity, which is offensive in itself, I just showed you how him and his ancestors, the settlers, didn't know shit, not shit, about purity or cleanliness. I'm talking about washing their ass while simultaneously using their hands to throw their own shit out the window. Bye.